What is up, my fellow melee maniacs? If you love melee combat in your sci-fi fantasy RPG setting, then chances are you love playing this game. It is rare for melee to be viable in most RPGs past normal difficulty settings, but in Chaos Gate, melee reigns supreme. It is powerful, well animated, and oh so satisfying. Its power derives not only from a well-designed game mechanic or an excellent skill tree, but also from a massive and diverse range of powerful melee weapons, some of which can change the entire flow of combat just by themselves. So here are my top 5 weapons that I believe embody the absolute pinnacle of glorious melee combat. Holding on to the number 5 spot is Star Slayer. Other than the Interceptor, most classes have a hard time reaching over 50% chance to crit, and so tend to miss out on the crazy late game crit damage. But who needs crit damage when you are guaranteed 9 damage on every 4th strike? Fully upgraded, this weapon damage output becomes beastly. It can turn every class into a damage dealer class. And that's not even the best part. This weapon also refunds willpower. Pair this with an armor and war gear that has focus on it, and you are guaranteed to never run out of willpower, while enjoying all the benefits of spamming 4th strike with different classes. I've really been enjoying this weapon on my Purifier, who needs to spam 4th strike anyway to build up stacks of unstoppable conflagration. At max stacks, the Purifier starts hitting for 15 damage, non-crit. Yeah, this weapon is crazy, but not as crazy as number 4. Sitting at number 4 is the Stoic Blade. An appropriately named weapon for a bunch of Stoic Knights. It holds on to such a high rank because no other weapon does the job it was designed to do better than this weapon. This is a purely defensive weapon with high base damage at 6 and an amazing list of upgrades. It has native 100% chance to parry, which means you don't need to waste equipment slots on focus gear. And fully upgraded, it can parry twice. In this game, melee attacks can only occur from the 4 cardinal directions. That means even when the enemy fully surrounds you, only 4 of them can actually attack you. If you parry 2 of their attacks, you have effectively reduced the damage coming your way in half. And it is rare for your tank to get surrounded by 4 or more enemies at once. It is designed for your main provokers in this game, that is the chaplains and the justicars. You can provoke a large group and effectively nullify their entire damage output. It is especially strong on the Justicar, who have access to enduring reflexes in their provoke tree, which grants them an extra auto, meaning they can parry 3 times. It's not higher on the list because it is a purely defensive weapon, and can only truly be used by specific classes in specific builds and team comps. So it's not a very versatile weapon. A good alternative to the Stoic Blade is the halberd Titan's Wrath. It is pretty similar, but instead of parrying, it does damage to the enemy. The only reason I don't have it taking the place of the Stoic Blade is because of the knockback ability. I found on many occasions that the knockback led to position issues, and sometimes even saved the enemy's life by pushing them out of range of my units. If not for this mechanic, Titan's Wrath would be in the number 4 spot. The number 3 spot is a tie between 2 damaging monstrosities, Ogun's Edict and the Weeping Blade. These 2 weapons are pure damage weapons with extremely high crit chance. They both are essentially the same weapon, with Weeping Blade having an absurd amount of crit damage, while the Edict trades in damage for guaranteed crit chance. I personally prefer the Weeping Blade, but that 120% chance to crit is also very tempting. Because of their insanely high crit chance, the Apothecary ability Warp Speed, which gives plus 4 crit damage, is so scary on these things. An Interceptor with one of these and Warp Speed buff can one-shot Plague Marines and Plague Bearers. No other melee weapon comes close to the damage potential of these things, and the only reason they don't hold the number 1 spot is because unfortunately only the Interceptors can bring out their full potential. You can use these on other classes, but the difference between them using these and the Interceptor using these is night and day. And even with the Interceptors, they require a lot of time and resources before their full potential is unlocked. But once unlocked, they are the bane of Nurgle. As we approach the end of the list, it is only fitting that it be brought about by the number 2 weapon in the game, the mighty Endbringer. This might be the most appropriately named weapon in the game, as even enemies with 20 plus health and armor are no match for it. It is one of the most essential weapons for one-turn full map clear and execution builds, and it is deadly in the hands of every single class in the game. Fully upgraded, this weapon does 3 stun damage on 4th strike. Add Iron Arm buff, and on certain classes it can reach 7 stun damage. But that is not the reason why it holds the number 2 spot. Oh no. The reason it holds the number 2 spot is not only does it provide 1 AP to everyone on the team on execution, it gives the executioner another plus 2 AP on top. That's 3 action points for any class that executes with this weapon, and 6 action points for any class with enduring reflexes. There are weapons that do higher base stun than the Endbringer, but none of them award AP bonus like the Endbringer does. Its only weakness is that you need to build an entire team around it, and it takes a lot of resources. Other than that, Endbringer is the absolute king of execution. No other weapon makes you question whether you are playing on legendary difficulty quite like this one. Except for the one that holds the number 1 spot. The one that is my favorite weapon. The one that makes you feel sorry for Papa Nurgle. The one that on every strike makes you speak the Lord's name in vain. The mini exterminatus itself. The one, the only, the mighty Warbreaker.
At once!
A 7 damage AoE in a massive 4 square range, with 0 friendly fire and decent crit damage for some sweet single target deeps. This weapon deletes entire patrols in just 2 or 3 action points on legendary difficulty. As if that wasn't enough, that massive F everything AoE also applies on hit effects, which includes stun. You understand what that means, right? It applies Iron Arm bonus stun, meaning it applies 4 stun in a 4 square radius every time it's used. That's like throwing 3 stun grenades on a fully decked out Grenadier build Purifier, with each grenade also doing 7 damage apiece every turn. Oh, and did I mention that the AoE benefits from damage bonus effects like the one from the Mantle of the Elect, or even the Purifier's Unstoppable Conflagration? Yes! That means 12 damage, 4 square AoE on the Purifiers. Yeah, shit gets ridiculous. And the best thing about this weapon is that you don't need anything other than fully upgrading it. You don't need a specific team comp, a specific class, a specific build, specific armor, or even level. You need nothing else. You can grab some chump from the janitorial staff of the ship, switch out their mop for this thing, and they will become the bane of demons and heretics. It is why this weapon is absolutely best at power leveling low-level knights. Even in boss fight, it can take on the role of clearing annoying-ass reinforcements. Its only weakness is that you have to spend willpower, but I am telling you, every single point of willpower spent on this weapon is worth it. It really should be called Game Breaker instead of Warbreaker, because this weapon is insane. And that's my list for top 5 most powerful weapons in the game. Couple of honorable mentions that I skipped over because they are class specific but very powerful when handled by those classes are Sorrow, a pair of falchions that give an interceptor so many attacks that they literally turn into an 8-foot tall teleporting blender. The Staff of Supremacy, the only melee weapon that has willpower on it, and it's perfect for the Librarian. And the Life Giver. It's great for the Apothecary because it makes all their buff last an extra turn. And that's everything. Now go out there and make the Emperor proud with some sweet, glorious melee. Peace.